This is the Coffee Playdate podcast, and I am Dr. Olga Dengar, hospitalist, mom of 3 under 6, and a life coach for women physicians and professionals. On this podcast, I spotlight entrepreneurs and doctorpreneurs who are doing incredible things beyond traditional medicine. You'll hear the real-life stories behind their mindset shifts, the challenges they've overcome, and the practical advice that they share to support aspiring entrepreneurs on their own paths. Welcome to the Coffee Playdate podcast. I have a very special guest with me today, Dr. Manpreet Samra. Welcome.
Thank you, Olga. I appreciate it.
Manpreet, do you drink any coffee?
So I've actually tried to stop drinking coffee and have started drinking tea. So I'll drink either Indian tea or matcha lattes.
Oh, why did you make that transition?
To get better sleep. I realized I
Yes.
was just really sensitive, and I've been trying to do this an improvement in my overall health because, if you don't have health, like nothing else really sits the way it should. So it's really helped in improving my sleep.
I love that. Very good. We're going to play a couple of games. The first one is a rapid fire questions game. I'll ask you to choose between one of the two answers, and you just go with your gut instinct. You don't need to give any explanations. Ready?
Ready.
First question. Pre-transplant evaluations or post-transplant follow-up visit?
Pre-transplant evaluations.
Nice. How about preventing kidney disease progression or managing end-stage kidney disease?
Preventing kidney disease progression.
Prevention is the best cure. Academic medical center life or private practice life?
Private practice life.
And last one, scaling an online telehealth business or growing an in-person practice?
Scaling online telehealth practice.
Amazing. I love it. Now, the next game is called Take a Sip. We're going to take a sip from our coffee cups if our answers match. The first question is, say yes and figure it out later, or plan every step before you start?
Say yes.
Say yes. Two. Cheers to saying yes. Next question. Speaking on big stages or teaching small, intimate workshops to women physicians?
Small, intimate workshops.
Me too. I like that a lot.
Cheers.
Cheers. Next one. Do you prefer city life or quiet suburban life?
City life.
City life. I'm going to go with suburban life.
No sip.
And the last question is, for your next travel adventure, would you rather go to Southeast Asia or South America?
South America.
Oh, Southeast Asia for me.
No sip.
All right. No sip. All right. So, Manpreet, tell me a little bit about yourself and your background.
Yes, absolutely. So I am based in Chicago. I'm a mom to 2 littles, an 8-year-old son, Dylan, and a 4-year-old daughter, Mia, who would correct me immediately and say she's 4.5. I am a wife. I'm married to an attorney, and I actually grew up in California, and I've lived in India as well for some part of my life. I'm trained as a transplant nephrologist, and I like to consider myself a serial entrepreneur.
And why do you consider yourself as a serial entrepreneur?
Because I have tried and failed and succeeded at so many business ventures.
What was one of your first business ventures that you embarked on?
So one of my first ones was with my husband, where both him and I, before we had children, after we were married, started 2 apps. One was a charity app where you could donate services, money, or goods to charities of your choice. And we did this deep dive into Chicago charities. And then the second app that we worked on was a tool to order your food while you're at the airport. We love to travel, and we found, sometimes you only have like 20 minutes before your flight goes and you just want to order your food. And so those were probably some of our first entrepreneurial ventures.
And what happened to those?
So I have counted them as fantastic learning opportunities.
Yes.
The apps did not go anywhere. They're still alive. I mean, they're still live on Apple, but they did not go anywhere. One was called Air Eats with a Z, and their charity app was called Seva, which is a Hindi word for service.
Amazing. It's always good to go through those learning opportunities because you don't
Yes.
want to make those same mistakes when you're scaling a bigger business, for example.
Exactly.
So tell me more about the businesses that you currently have.
Yeah, so currently, I started a company called Transplant, and I provide telehealth services to transplant programs around the country. So I am licensed currently in 41 states. I can be licensed in 50 plus one DC if I wanted to. I'm just holding off on that. And I'm slowly scaling. So I'm bringing on other transplant nephrologists and there's 250 kidney transplant centers. So I'm slowly making my way through them, collecting my yeses and celebrating the noses.
Amazing. If you don't mind me asking, how many no's have you gotten in comparison to the yeses so far?
I've gotten like 8 to 10 no's.
Okay. All right. And how did you kind of get through those moments? Were you upset about it or did you think about them in a different way?
No, I just expected them. I mean, it's part of scaling your business. Everyone's not going to say yes. Everyone's not going to be aligned with what you're offering. And here's a really big thing that I've learned along the way, that sometimes it's not the right timing for that program. But you've planted the seed, and whenever they need you, they'll come back to you.
It's very true. Is there any other business that you're working on currently?
Yes. So Trifecta MD is another business that I've started with my business partner, Paula Livalkov. She's a radiologist by training. What this is essentially a women physicians investing club. We're like angel investors. We invest in healthcare company startups. And we specifically focus on women and minorities because women and minorities get less than 2% of all investment dollars.
Wow. That's very little.
So right now, between family and these two companies, that's what I'm focusing on. And I'll add that, I also got my MBA, what is it, maybe 6, 7 years ago. Although it's helped, I don't think it's necessary
And why do you say that?
because a lot of the things that you're either learning as you go or you're learning from your communities.
Do you feel like communities have been a big part of your journey?
Huge, absolutely. So since starting Sunny Smith's EWP back in 2020, I think that was probably the start of my, community progress. And I've been in multiple communities since then. And I think it really helps because it helps with accountability, it helps in learning new ideas. If you're ever up against a wall, it really helps provide different perspectives to get through, to push through, and to go on to the next step.
Amazing. I'm also a big supporter of communities. I think there's so much power and value behind meeting like minded physicians, especially women in the field who are trying to come up with new ideas or even form a collaboration. There's just so many opportunities that come out from communities.
Agree.
So, what do you think has been kind of the biggest benefit of running your own businesses?
Flexibility and lifestyle. And, they're kind of one and the same thing, but I would say that's it. And I had shared before we started recording, I was on a podcast with Dr. Fariel Michaud, and her podcast is called Living Intentionally. And this was a few years ago. And she had asked me, if you could do anything in the future, what would it be? And at the time, I was a W 2 employee, working 8 to 5 on call 24/7. And I told her I would want to slow travel around the world and possibly do a program called Boundless Life, in which you can go live with your family. Kids are in like a summer camp. There's a workplace for the adults and find furnished housing. This was a few years ago. And fast forward July 2026, my family and I are going to spend a month in Spain.
Wow.
Because I have my own business, because of the flexibility and because I can design my life the way I want to.
That is incredible. What a huge accomplishment. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you.
It's great. What is maybe one mindset tool that you've gained on your entrepreneurial journey?
Oh, there's so many. I would say you are enough. I know that sounds like kind of hokey pokey, but a lot of times we get in our own way and we may say, but I don't know how to do XYZ. And the truth is, like, you are perfectly capable of doing it. I mean, my goodness, if you could get through medical school and strenuous residency, fellowship training, and attending hours, there is nothing in this world that you cannot do.
That is so true. We are like superhumans.
Exactly.
Wow. I love that. Now, is there a challenge that you've come across on your entrepreneurial journey? And can you tell me a little bit about how you overcame that?
Yes. So this may not be the exact question you're thinking, but this is the first thing that came to mind. So I'll share it. So it wasn't exactly an entrepreneurial challenge. It was more a personal health challenge, which really just led to my current life. So 3 years ago, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And I'm now an ED, no evidence of disease. But going through that with a 5-year-old and a 1-year-old and a full-time job, in fact, I had started a brand new kidney transplant program, and it was almost like my third baby. And going through that and going through treatment, I think that the challenge that I faced during that was knowing that I don't have to do everything and that it's okay to rest. And so I'd say my biggest challenge was not knowing how to rest, and not giving my body and my mind time to rest. And it took something like having breast cancer and having going through the treatment to say, you know what? Slow down. You don't have to go at this pace of 150 miles an hour. Let your body rest. Let your mind rest. Let everything catch up. Be there for yourself. Be there for your family, and everything else will still be there.
I'm so happy that you shared that. It's a very personal story, but it really does make a difference when you're going through a big health challenge to try to come out of it even stronger and a different person. And that can have different meanings for different people. And for you, it really asked you to slow down. And I'm so grateful that you've shared that. Thank you. Now, what is one piece of advice that you would give to someone who's starting out in a similar space as you?
The advice I would give is just start. Don't get in your own way. Don't think you have to read like 100 books. Don't think you have to go through courses. Don't think you need anything. Just start. Take one step and then schedule the steps you're going to take. And when you look back 6 months later, you will amaze yourself at how much progress you've made because there's nothing you can't do.
Yes, I love that. Starting is the best way to do this because something that you get done, like a small task that you have been thinking about, and you're like, oh, but I got to read this book to make it better. Maybe I can build on it this way. But if you just start and it's not perfect, that will still get you farther than not taking that action in the first place. I'm
Yes.
glad you brought that up. Is there a book that you have that you would recommend for our listeners today?
Yes, so many. I will share the one that I've read most recently, and that is The Art of Spending Money by Morgan Housel. And I know you asked for one book, but his first book, The Psychology of Money, is fantastic too. And I feel like it ties in really nice with being an entrepreneur and having that entrepreneur's mindset of putting, your priorities in the correct place and living your life accordingly.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's very important to build your life with intention. Focus on the things that align with your values and the things you love to do every day. If you're passionate about it, you will be so much more successful in your pursuit in whatever area you decide to go into. So thank you for that book recommendation. All right, well, that's all the time that we have today. Thank you so much for joining me, Manpreet. It's been a pleasure, and I hope to have you on a future episode.
Thank you so much, Olga. I really appreciate you having me, and thank you for creating this podcast. And you are an example of what is possible. So I hope everyone can see that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to the Coffee Playdate podcast. This episode is designed to help you stay driven, aligned, build momentum, and take action on your entrepreneurial journey. That's my Dhamma method in motion. If you enjoyed this conversation, hit subscribe and share it with one other person who you think would benefit from it. And when you're ready to live life on your own terms, book a discovery call at coacholgamd.com to see if one-on-one coaching with my Dhamma method is your next move.